Hey, lovelies. So, back in the day, 2015 to be precise, when I first came up with the idea of taking my love of the tarot and my love of the Buddha Dharma and mindfulness and bringing them together, and I came up with this phrase, mindful tarot, it was super important for me to make a sharp distinction between what I called mindful tarot on the one hand and mantic tarot on the other hand. And mantic, that word mantic comes from the same Greek word that we get cartomancy or geomancy, necromancy, all those mancies, a praying mantis, for instance, that insect. It is the word for prophet or prophecy, right? So I was making this hard and fast distinction between a kind of prophetic, divinatory, fortune-telling kind of use of tarot and a mindful use of tarot. And my point was really to push against the ways in which our relationship to the cards might be guided by a sense of lack or obstacle or a sense of something being broken. I said, no, nothing's broken. Nothing's hidden. Those two phrases were and have been the mantra of Mindful Tarot. Nothing is broken, nothing is hidden. And the tarot, for me, has always been, and this is what Mindful Tarot was about from the get-go, the tarot has always been a tool for helping us settle into the abundance and richness and full-on knowledge and radiance that is always available to us, always here and now. And so I pushed really hard against a divinatory use of tarot and a use of tarot that was trying to solve questions or find answers or tilt toward the future and hone in on a present-based tarot practice. A practice that's all about awareness, all about opening into the beauty of this human heart and life right here and now. Okay, all of that is totally at the heart of my life as a tarot reader and a tarot mentor, a teacher, at the heart of my life as a Zen teacher, as a chaplain, all the things that I am and do and feel. And, as I've been working more and more over the past 8 years in this kind of framework of Mindful Tarot, this framework that I created, so it's my framework, but I've found myself chafing a little bit because the reality is we all do have questions and we come to the cards with questions. We come to the cards wanting to know the future. We are time-bound, finite, limited creatures so far as we know, and we want to know what lays in store for us. And all of those questions like, will he or won't he? Does she or doesn't she? What should I do? Where will I go? Will I do this? Will I get this job? Will I get sick? Will I get healed? Will my lover be happy? Whatever. All of those questions. We want answers. So how do we work with the tarot mindfully in a divinatory way? That's a really good question. And today I found myself I had a really big disappointment today that I'm just still grappling with. Applied for a program. It's one vision and version of how I move forward with my life would be going through this program and getting some training. And it's one version among countless versions of how my future can unfold. But you know how it is. We are finite and time-bound creatures so far as we know. And so you get attached to a vision of how things are going to unfold. So I got waitlisted. I did not get in. And I didn't even know how much I thought I would get in until I got waitlisted. And then I was like, holy shit. So it goes. This is life, right? This is life, big and small. So I found myself in grappling with that disappointment, really wanting to know, will I get in? Right? Will I get into this program? Now, what do I do with that kind of question, with that kind of impulse? How do I, in a mindful tarot context, from a mindful tarot perspective, how do I work with the desire to know an answer about a future event? Good question, huh? Yeah. For me, it's a good question. Like, what do I do? Do I just ask the cards, will I get in? That would be a mantic tarot, to use my old categorization system. That would be a mantic tarot way to go. Will I get in? which assumes that, there's a future that is separate from this present, or that something's lacking in this present that needs a resolution in the future, that there's an obstacle, a problem, something that needs to be redressed or resolved. That kind of approach to, will this thing that I want happen, presumes lack, right? Installs lack into the heart of my working with the cards. My issue with divinatory practice of that nature is not that I question the capacity for us to know things that defy rational explanation about how we can know them. I am thoroughly convinced that there are individuals who are psychic and can accurately predict what happens next. I am thoroughly convinced that there are moments where I have approached, whether it's the cards or a crystal for scrying, where I have seen things that it's hard to know how I could have seen them, hard to know how I could have known them. And yet, although I do imagine that kind of relationship to something that seems on the face of it unknowable, although I do think that that's possible, I don't want my relationship to the tarot to be about those kinds of questions, because those kinds of questions presume that something is missing and lacking here and now, and they hitch my heart on something that I feel is absent. They hitch my heart on an outcome that I perceive as not currently in my reach. So at the heart of my spiritual practice, they attach me to a sense of something being broken or lost. I don't want the tarot to tell me what will happen. I want the tarot to teach me how to live. I don't want the tarot to give me answers. I want the tarot to inspire me with questions. So, how do I do a mindful tarot approach to a moment where I feel that yearning toward the future? I feel that inquisitive spark emerging. How do I work with that mindfully? I want to know, am I going to get this thing? Am I going to get into this program? I want to know that. So how do I work with the cards given that experience? I'm going to ask the cards 3 things. And I'm going to start with the only thing that I know to start with right now. And that is a question about what is this program to me? What does it represent for me right now? So I'm asking to foreground the thing that is the object of my desire, that feels like it's out there, that I'm hitching my heart to, something that's not present. I'm going to formulate a question for the cards about that thing. And so in this case, what is this program to me? What does it mean for me right now? Does that question make sense? It's like if I were asking about, say there was someone that I had a crush on, and I was asking if, do they like me? That sort of a question, right? Will he call me? The mindful tarot way to work with that impulse would be to start by saying, who is this person to me? Like, where are they in my psyche? Who are they? So I'm asking that about this program. What is it to me? I want to know more about this desire. Okay. No, I'm new to this. It's the Chariot. Whew. Okay, that makes total sense. I love this card. This deck I find is challenging to read. When you look at Claire Goodchild's guidebook, her meanings don't really reflect the imagery. They're really, they just reflect a kind of standard Rider-Waite-Smith understanding of the cards. And so you're kind of left, as I am working, I've just started working with this deck, as I am left with, this is the Antique Anatomy deck, by the way. as I am working with this deck, I find myself really drawn toward the relationship between the flourishing of the flowers and the boniness or kind of elemental quality, elemental like iron and glass and, you know, the sort of inanimate stuff. So like this deck really is torn between living things and things that aren't living, but provide a kind of structure for what is living. Anyway, it's an interesting and tricky deck to read. The Chariot. Right, so yeah, so this program, you know, it is a way for me to work with, what it represents for me is this capacity to realize my desires by pulling together, you know, the red and the black. Those colors themselves, I understand through a kind of playing card imagery where, you know, the red are the hearts and diamonds and the black are the clubs and spades. So it really is the two sides of tarot, the kind of masculine phallic like spades and clubs, swords and wands, and then the red is the kind of feminine side of the hearts and diamonds or cups and pentacles, right? So this is like, you know, the yin and the yang, and we have kind of an echo of a yin and yang kind of image here. So that sense from the traditional tarot imagery of the two horses and the charioteer who's able to balance forces, that's very much what this is about. And it's about like, how do I pull together in a unified way, in an integrated way, all that makes me me? How do I move forward? How do I realize my drive, my inspiration, my will? How do I enact it in the world? Right? The Chariot, this program for me holds that promise. Why do I care about this program? It holds the promise of being able to pull it all together, to integrate all the parts of me. Damn straight. That seems totally accurate. And now, of course, as I've articulated that, I realize, well, there probably are more ways than one to integrate all the parts of me. So already this approach to this sort of the disappointment and the question, the will she, won't she kind of question, will this happen, will this not happen, will I get in? That kind of divinatory impulse, already I know more about what that divinatory impulse was, where it was coming from, you know, this desire to integrate. Okay, knowing that. What shadowy thing in me, how do I want to ask this? What's left out? What am I not missing? As I formulate this idea of this program as my chariot, my ticket out of here, right? Like the thing that, what am I missing? What am I not seeing? What is left in the shadow of that image of the program as my chariot? What needs to, trying to find a good way to ask this question. What needs of mine are left out of that image? What is left out? Okay, so we have the King of Rods. So something about this is me. This is a side of me, that kind of, you know, air of fire, that King of Wands, King of Fire energy, but that sense of that strong, flourishing, fiery, that yellow sunflower, that sun quality. So what's left out of me is and I've been thinking a lot about fire and my own fire lately, and my relationship to fire. Fire as will and inspiration and drive. So that King of Fire side of me is left out as I think about, you know, the chariot, my ticket out of here, my ride, my way to move forward, integration. What's left out is there's a lot of fire. There's a lot of fire. I find as I'm working with the cards, that I really am wanting so much to know, like, will I get what I want? Will it happen? Will the thing that I think I want, will it happen? And now this card is revealing to me, well, there's this other side. this King of Rods. That really needs to be expressed, that this image wasn't enough. This image of the program as my chariot left out the side of me that is the King of Wands, the King of Rods. So why is this, what I'm doing here, helpful? You know, we get so attached to, here's what I want. Will it happen? Does he like me? Will I get into this program? Will my next cancer scan be clean? Like all those kinds of questions that people want the tarot to answer. They leave out parts of us in shadow because we've hitched ourselves onto a certain desired outcome. And as we allow ourselves to see what isn't met by the fantasized outcome, the thing we think we want, the person we're in love with, will he call me, will he not call me, the clean bill of health that we think is going to make our whole universe be okay once we find out that scan was clean. All the ways that we fantasize about a projected future, that if we could have it, everything would be fine right now. What's left out of that, I just dropped a card, as if to prove my point, what's left out, the card I dropped, you know, that we need to nourish this, right? Right? So this way of working with that divinatory impulse is actually helping us nourish more parts of ourselves than a simple answer about the future or a simple delivered outcome will nourish. So, the King of Rods. Okay. So now to complete this, I asked, you know, what is this program to me? What is the thing I desire, the desired outcome? What is it really in me? What is left out? And now I want to know what is being brought forward right now through all of this. Is that what I want to know? I want to know something about, well, maybe I just want to ask what next. But that's really a sort of question about the future. So how do I want to ask, what good is there right now in all of this, in this moment of indecision and limbo? What good is there? What am I finding right now through all of this process? Oh, yeah, the Two of Rods, the Two of Wands. So this is about embarkation and willingness to meet things, right? How do I open into this moment? That is what's good right now. That is the good right now. So, I pulled 3 cards, all of which are aiming in a different way to work with my own impulse right now to know the future, which is an impulse to have a certain vision of what I need to feel happy delivered to me. And so if you're working with this kind of mindful tarot approach to typical fortune-telling impulses, you're going to want to pull, I think, 3 cards. I'm always in favor of 3 cards. I think 3 cards, it's a perfect number of cards. I mean, 2 cards is good, 1 card is good, 4 cards also, and 5. But 3, 3 is my favorite. And so maybe thinking of it this way, that the first card is the card that you're asking, you know, what is this thing I want, right? What is it to me? What does it represent to me? What part of me? What fantasy? What is it to me? So if the thing is X, what is X to me? And then the second question, what does X, as I understand it, leave out? What is in shadow right now? And the third question is, what is being brought forward right now? What is good? What goodness is here right now? And those 3 questions in the context of this program, I haven't found out whether I'm getting in or not, but I have found out that I need to attend to the King of Rods, right? That needs to be met. And that, that what I'm looking for is my chariot. That seems really true. And that in this moment, and this is probably part of attending to the King of Rods, seeing the ways in which this is a moment of embarkation, of that Two of Rods being at the edge of the world. Anything can happen. And that's what this moment is bringing forward for me right now. Anything can happen. A Two of Rods, a Two of Wands realization of the infinite bounty of what can unfold. How much better is that Two of Rods than any concrete, finite, here you go, here it is, delivered to me. May we stand on the edge of the infinite. We always already are on that edge, but may we feel it. May we be nourished in the unfolding of our life right here and now, in all of its complexity, in all of its brilliance, in all of its shadow. May we be content with the unfoldingness of our life right here and now. May we be content with the questions. Thank you all so much for your practice. If you haven't joined the Mindful Tarot community officially, please do. Every third Sunday of the month we have a Zoom, and the link to the Zoom is it's easy and takes nothing to acquire. Just find us on Facebook, Mindful Tarot, and you'll see all the information, or you can email me at the address below and I'll give you the information. But this Sunday, depending on when you're seeing this video, this Sunday, February 19th, 9 a.m. Pacific time is our next community Zoom. I hope to see you there. Thank you all so much for your practice.